for saying I was your favorite voice, even though because you knew I was here.
This is so exciting. So what we're going to do, Jane, is we're going to each open it up with you, and then we're going to let the moms ask some questions. And dads, sorry.
Oh,
and non-dads, and everyone. I guess I want to ask, it's not personal, but it's not really related to the film, but I'm just curious. So you grew up in Illinois.
I did.
I grew up in Missouri. High five, Midwest.
All right, baby.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, New York.
New York. I'm not going to high five you on that.
Tell me when you knew, okay, I can make a career out of this, because I know your whole background with the Chicago Second City,
working for free.
Yes. So when did you have the confidence and the whereabouts of, I can do this and make a living?
Probably in Chicago, when I started to do commercials and voiceovers, and those pay, and I continued to do theater that didn't pay. And then so I knew that I could probably make a living at it and continue to do theater. And then I started to do theater that paid.
Okay, and on the heels of that, I have a 7-year-old who says she's going to be an actress.
Oh, good for her.
Okay, but when did you really know? Elementary school, high school?
That
When did you catch the bug? Yeah.
Well, I caught the bug. I can't remember not being infected with this bug. I wanted to be an actress for as long as I've been conscious, and. You know, I think it's one of those things that sometimes people don't know what they want to do until they're much older. I just happen to, and I think it's kind of a blessing to know right away. It's also a curse because there's nothing else I want to do, and there's nothing else I'm qualified to do.
But it worked out for you.
It did,
so many,
yes.
It doesn't. So like Melissa's daughter, my son says to me every day, I want an agent, I want acting classes,
That's funny.
No, that's what he says, but the truth is I try to say to him, you know, most people don't make it. So
Oh, that's not a good thing to say. I'm going to stop you right there.
I'm
going to stop you right there.
No, but I mean that realistically.
No, my mother did that to me, and I burst into tears, and she spent the rest of her life apologizing for that. This is the deal. You have to redefine what.
He wants to be a
Exactly. And you know what? This is what I'm saying. You don't squash kids' dreams. For any reason, for practical.
No. It's realistic.
No.
I'm with you.
No. I have to stop you. You need some education right now. And I've never raised a child, but I've been a child. And you do not squash dreams. He may not make it. He may not be he probably won't be a basketball player.
You tell him to go for it.
You tell him to go for it. And you know what you do?
I'm missing the message. I tell him to go for it, but I'm also telling him.
No, you don't.
You should have
Stop
options.
it. Stop it. Stop it. You cannot live your child's life. And if your child is 1 week wants to be an actor and the next week wants to be a fireman, encourage it. If he wants to be an actor for the rest of his life, you encourage it. You don't give practical. And the thing is, it's up to him to make it happen. It's up to him. It's not you. You don't do it, baby.
That is awesome. That's the line of the day. Do not live your child's life.
Yeah. Let them live their own. And when a child has that look.
believes in dreams. I'm the one that says every day, but we are living our dream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to squash his dreams. I think he has a lot of dreams, right? So
I'd
rather he has more.
Let him have 150 billion dreams.
Okay.
Let him
We've
have
got a question for Miss Lynch. Go ahead, ladies. Don't be shy. Janine.
Hi. I just want to know.
Speak up.
I know you've done a lot of TV series, and you've also done Wreck-It Ralph. What's the transition period like from going from TV series to an animated film?
the transition period.
Yeah, like what's the transition for you? Like,
For me, nothing. It's all the same animal to me. It's all the same. I love it. Sometimes I don't even know where the camera is. Sometimes I don't even know if I'm recording. I just love doing it. So there's no shift. Like, what's the difference between television and film? Nothing, as far as I'm concerned. They let the technical people put in the different film or the digital, whatever they use. But it's all the same for me. I don't need to like take a nap and go, now I'm going to do voiceover. Yeah, I really, it's just
like
it's
Daniel Day-Lewis, who just said on 60 Minutes, he was like Lincoln for a year.
Yeah, well,
That's his method.
This
for
guy,
a full year.
He's transcendent. I'm not even in the same category. This guy
Best in
is,
show. Come on.
Oh, thank you. He's a pretty, he's an amazing. Well, I don't want to be him. He can be him. I love what I do, and he's just, he'll do one film every 2 years, and his life becomes about that. And I love him. I think he's fantastic. My career's a little different. I do 12 things in a day.
Okay, so I'm a huge Louis fan.
Thank you.
Who isn't?
Yeah, I went to the first concert in Phoenix.
Oh, no, cool.
It was great. So my question for you is, when did you know that Sue was the one that you wanted to play her, and that it was gonna, that people would respond well to her, because she's kind of like the focus of Glee now. Like,
Well, thank you for thinking so, but
Well,
I'm not really.
You know, when the
Thank
humor
you.
comes in, it's always because
Oh,
you're
thank
bringing
you. Well, you know, I read the pilot, and the pilot, in the only thing it said about Sue Sylvester in the description of the script was Sue may or may not have posed for Penthouse, and may or may not be on horse estrogen. So I knew I wanted to play this very extreme, driven lady, and I laughed out loud when I read that. And I've known Ryan Murphy for a long time, and I laughed out loud knowing that he wrote it. As it turns out, this young man, Ian Brennan, who's also an executive producer, and actually the guy who came to Ryan with the idea, writes all of my lines, but Sue Sylvester was a creation of Ryan Murphy, and I could tell right away, and I laughed out loud.
Who else has a question?
I know Deb Lewis has
Oh, Casey.
Deb, Macy?
Hi. My question is, so I never took drama, I never acted, and I find the whole process of acting fascinating. Can you tell a little bit about how you prepare to become another person and how you do that so believably?
Oh, thank you for saying that, but it's all in me. I think one of the greatest, one of the things that freed me, not only as an actor, but as a human being, was to be able to poke around into those parts of my psyche in the shadow, the stuff I'm afraid of, the stuff that perhaps I'm ashamed of, and realize that everything that's ever been experienced by a human on this planet, I am capable of accessing that. Doesn't mean I'm going to lead with the murderer that lives in me. It doesn't mean that I lead with the person who, when she sees a dress in the store that she can't afford, she's going to steal. And it doesn't mean that I lead with my most compassionate self all the time, but it's all in there. It's all in there, and that freed me as a person. And also, I think at that point, it was through therapy, at that point, my work for me as an actor lined up with my work as a human being, and it became profound for me. And I began to live my art, if you will, and it became very, 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 very personal and empowering.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How has being a parent influenced how you have looked at your work? Or
It's a really good question. I do look at what I do, and I know that kids' eyes are on my work, and especially Glee. And I never asked for that. I never wanted to be a mother. I've never felt ever. I never felt, in fact, I'm kind of jealous of kids that they get all the attention. And I find myself, I've done so many kids' films. Another Cinderella story, that George Lopez film, Troop Mom, I couldn't think of the name of it. I'm always in films and television shows where I play something. I'm with kids a lot. And because I think that's kind of my destiny, is to release that mother, and it's a perfect fit for me now, you know. And Glee is all about kids, and you know, I mean, a lot of adults watch it too, but kids watch it to see themselves reflected, because we have every flavor, shape, size, and color of kid on Glee, and that's on purpose. That's so everybody who turns it on can see themselves, and see these kids in an environment where they are loved and celebrated for who they are, and that they have this safe place that they go where they have each other's back. And I think that is the draw of Glee. And I think that's why adults like it too, because in a way we're all still in high school. We're all still looking for our peeps. The people who are going to go, I see you, I get you, you're awesome. So that's, you know, and I think that's important for kids to see.
Thank you for being here. I love Glee, best in show, awesome. It's so great to see you in person today.
Nice to see a tall girl.
So my brother just finished his second city run actually on the main stage in Toronto.
You're kidding?
Nope, not kidding. And he's doing the commercials and all
Yeah.
that. Two questions. Do you still do improv? And second, do you have any suggestions for his next steps?
Oh, cool. Well, that's a great question. Yeah, if he's on the main stage in Toronto, he's good. I don't do a lot of improv right now, but you know what? I just read this book, and I didn't read the whole thing because I never finish a book, called The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and you can tell him this if he wants to know. In order to do something and do it very, very well, you have to put in about 10,000 hours. So and he points to these situations, like the Beatles. They were in Hamburg for I don't know how long, but they worked almost 7 days. I think they worked 7 days a week, 5-6 hour sets, and they just got so good at what they did that they could switch instruments. You know, they would drum one time, they would play the bass the next time. They became masters. and they work. And if I look back on my path, that's exactly what I did as well. I said yes to almost everything except pornography. And you know what? No one ever asked me to do that. And that always hurt
you
my
might
feelings.
or might not have.
Right. But that's why I was so attracted to Sue Sylvester. Someone obviously asked her, maybe. So, you know, it's, I don't, you know, when people ask for advice, I always go, God, if someone gave me advice and I took it, I would have been robbed of the path that just seemed to be an accident. Like, oh, I'm here. And just continue to do. It sounds like he's on the same path where he's doing commercials, and, you know, I was never on the main stage, so he's doing a little better than I did. So he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. If he's gone this far, you know, it's a matter of time.
Can I ask you this? Oh, sorry.
Hi, Jane.
Yeah, hey.
Could you take us behind the scenes? What was the set environment like on the Christopher Guest movies?
Well, you know, we didn't do any rehearsals. So the process began when Chris kind of figured out, Chris and Eugene Levy, who wrote it, another Canadian, also at Toronto Second City. They would write the script, which had no dialogue. It was just it was a script without dialogue, basically. And then we'd get a call from him, and he'd say, "Hey, we're doing another movie, and come have a hamburger with me, and I'll tell you who you're playing. You're playing this character. You're playing a dog trainer who has a lesbian lover, and she's married to an old guy, and you've got a poodle." Yeah. Isn't that great? And Chris Guest and Eugene Levy thinks of this stuff. So anyway, that's all you get, and you show up. You do your work ahead of time. You prepare. We're going to improvise. So although I must tell you, I did cheat and come up with some funny lines before I got there, but I think every actor that works on it will tell you they did that too. You talk to the wardrobe person, you talk to the set person who says, what do you want your house to look like? What do you want your office to look like? And then you just show up and you shoot. You just shoot. There's no rehearsal. He just sets the camera down and he shoots a master, and then he says, yeah, do that again, and we're going to come in a little closer. So that's how it works. And it's not like hijinks. There's, it's a very serious process, where we're always nervous, because comedy people are always self-doubting and self-loathing. So, oh, God, I got nothing. And it ends up being really, 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 really good, I think. I mean, the editing is a big part of it, and Chris sits in a dark room for like a year before he releases it.
So what does the script look like? If there's
looks like a script without dialogue, like exterior dog show, interior living room, with no lines.
Do you get paid extra for also writing the script?
I'm sorry?
Do you get paid extra for also writing
No, we
the
don't.
script for him?
Scale.
Right, yeah, we don't get paid for the writing we do.
Deb, do you have a question, or you what?
What's your greatest pleasure doing?
Hayden is, she happens to be, and I'm sure you all think this about your children, an exceptional human being. She's one of the most fair, open-hearted, embracing people I've ever met, grown-up or child. So I'm pretty much in love and in awe of this child. So that's my greatest joy, is kind of watching her walk through the world, and without, she has her little fears here and there, but basically without fear, and kind of open to the experience, and she never says no. She's a yes and, which is, I had to learn to be. And she's that, her constitution is that. She's like, yep. So that's what I love about her.
Oh, don't answer.
There's so many actors today that make the transition into directing.
Yeah.
Forgive me if you've directed anything, but is this something that you aspire to
Yeah.
go towards next, or you only want to do
No,
acting?
I love to act, and I will always love that. But I do enjoy storytelling, and I like the idea of putting the pieces together. And I also, because I'm an actor, I know how to work with actors, and I always appreciate an actor/director, because they, one of the things I really don't like when I work with someone new who's a director, like we'll do a take and he'll start walking over to me, and he'll go, you know what? Jane, I have an idea, and I'm like, let me work it out. I know what I'm doing. I don't want to be told. I want somebody to take what I've done and say, yes, and not, let's go a different way with this.
It's mostly a man.
Yeah, it's mostly men. Most directors are men, but I'm sure we're going to do that too. But.
So also now being a parent, am I jumping in and being obnoxious here?
Anybody
Sorry.
else have a question?
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not a question so much, but just in like listening to you and watching you, it almost feels like you're not really an actress. This is who you are, and it's really awesome to see how you can